just wanted to welcome you to our program, Soaring City, Stories from Uptown Innovation Collective. Through these partnerships, organizations in Uptown work together to serve thousands of youth and adults by elevating the community through innovation, education, workforce, and development. We do this so that every resident can enjoy the promise of equality, prosperity, and a resilient community. We are Uptown's emerging mixed-use innovation known as Rhythm. Rhythm is the reimagining of University Mall and stands for research, innovation, technology, habitat, and medical. Those are the functions that are being added to the traditional retail use. In a few minutes, you will hear from the visionary behind this development, Chris Bowen. He is the Chief Development Strategist for the owner of Rhythm, which RD Management, and he's the chairman of the Soaring City Innovation Partnership, the nonprofit that is helping bring programming to Rhythm. Now, who am I, you ask? Well, my name is Antonia McCutcheon, and I am the Executive Director and part of a wonderful team at Tampa Bay Community Network, your nonprofit community media center, located at the lower level of the mall. Go TBCM. We are a full-fledged video production and podcast facility, and we are also a television station. We air on 5 different cable channels and 6 different streaming apps. Most importantly, we are a big part of the workforce development as we offer free video production training for all of Hillsborough County residents. So not only do we offer video production services, but we also train the community so that they can develop skills to enter the workforce. Video production is a very lucrative career. But yes, been doing it for a very long time. I know. But we couldn't do this and have the impact that we have without being a part of this wonderful collaborative. Because as you will soon see, we all complement each other, and together as a strong team, we will unleash the potential of Tampa's Uptown corridor. Well, we hope you can stay and visit us all on the walking tour after the program, and we'll be able to see these wonderful organizations. Okay. Well, next I would like to introduce to you John Daimler, one of our partners. He's the CEO of Well Built Bikes. Welcome, John.
All right, so Well Built Bikes is a social enterprise bike shop. We sell new and refurbished bikes at affordable prices, and then we invest the service and the sales revenue into an earn-a-bike program and sliding scale repairs so that all of our neighbors, regardless of their income, can gain access to affordable and reliable transportation, as well as to maintain that. We'll be stopping there on the tour, and so we can tell you a little bit more about that then. For now, I want to tell you about the Well Built Cities ecosystem that planted and incubated Well Built Bikes. So our 501c3 is set up as a nonprofit holding company that is building a portfolio of initiatives that are building social enterprises and social infrastructure. So Well Built Bikes is an LLC that is owned by that nonprofit parent organization, as are other initiatives such as Well Fed Community, that is a food education service provider that's utilizing the entire life cycle of a plant to teach a holistic curriculum that addresses every aspect of our relationship with food. There's the Kinship Mobile Free Market, a refrigerated vehicle that's taking food that might otherwise go wasted in neighborhoods that might otherwise go hungry to share that food and build relationships. We've got a handful of other small initiatives that we're incubating. Humanize is actually an application that we're developing to serve the needs of caregivers in our community. We're currently launching the 813 Collective to recognize, network, invest in the builders that we recognize that are working in pockets throughout Tampa. And this initiative is an effort and something that I wanted to take a minute to highlight here this morning. So there's a revealing question that emerges as networks begin to replace hierarchies, which if you're paying attention is what's happening in the world. And the question is, are we ready for the new face of leadership and the new competencies that it will require? Because as skilled as we are at organizational leadership in our Western context, for the most part, we're woefully unprepared for the new collaborative economy that's emerging. I mean, we work together, right? We work together all the time with people, between departments. We work in partnership. But there's this rare and ambiguous kind of collaboration that happens between organizations and across networks that is almost like magic. We still have a hard time understanding it. I mean, we're generally quite good at analysis and fundraising and recruiting, deploying resources, making strategic plans, even executing on those plans. But when we gather, we're generally quite good at those things, even in executing them. We know how to lead hierarchies. But when we get into a room of equals, of other agency heads and leaders, those same skills seem to suddenly become inaccessible to us. And our competency at that sometimes maybe even stands in the way of us being equipped for the latter. And the truth is, though, if we're going to tackle the really complex, the really wicked problems in this neighborhood and in this world, things like generational poverty or addiction, the truth is our resources are going to be exhausted, as is, in many cases, our spirits as well. But the sober recognition that we do not have what it takes as individuals, we do not have what it takes as individual agencies, entities, organizations, it's a good thing. It's what wakes us up to the necessity and the wisdom of collaboration between institutions, businesses, and charities to pursue social change, those transcendent causes, those dragons that we need to fight together. So I'm excited about the efforts to grow in this area that are being made here in this network in Uptown. And I'm also excited to introduce you to one of our co-conspirators, Chris Moranci, the founder, the CEO of NetSBS and the LT3 Group. Y'all welcome Chris.
So I am Chris Moranci. I'm the CEO of the LT3 Group. Our LT3 Lab is located in Austin, right? We are really going through a really big undertaking, right? And for us, the undertaking is simple. It's reimagining workforce development, right? But the pieces that go into it are extremely complex, right? When we reimagine the workforce ecosystem, we sort of reimagine the workforce ecosystem where opportunities equal, true economic opportunities equal, the ability for someone to take advantage of a particular trade means that that individual should be able to answer the question of today as well as the question of tomorrow. And what that comes down to is simple things such as, is it affordable? Is it accessible? Right? So what we did, we kind of looked at the entire ecosystem and said that something was wrong, right? And what's wrong is the understanding that traditionally the cost of someone going for workforce development, which is the answer to sustainability, lies on that individual. So we reimagine the workforce ecosystem where that opportunity, that cost is shared across the ecosystem, and that's what we've done, right? So under the LT3 Group, what we do is that we operate multiple arms. We operate LT3 Labs, which is downstairs. These are workforce development centers that are placed in communities such as these, so we can make training accessible to all parts of our community. We run the LT3 Academy, and the LT3 Academy we actually run for the Department of Education and the Department of Labor approved apprenticeship and career apprenticeship programs. The main takeaway here from all programs, as we sort of like try to answer the question of equality is, can we manage to keep people while they go for training? So from a career apprenticeship program, we actually pay all of our individuals $15 an hour for like $21 a week while they go through the program themselves, right? What we also do is that we work with government agencies to find funding for individuals going for that program. So in essence, the people coming for our program pay $0. They get paid while they go through the program. Our programs are fully remote, and we provide them equipment to do so as well. So essentially what we're doing is removing all the barriers of entry into this high-tech careers. We do this across high school, we do this at the college level, we do this at the unemployment level, at the GED level. In short, we look to take people who are generally underserved and underrepresented and underinvested, right? And I will give that to our time here for that group, right? And we provide them opportunities to actually get into these high-tech careers. And we want to focus on communities like this, right? Communities that are on the verge of, and I hate to say this, gentrification, because it's inevitable, but we don't have to have displacement. And in order to fight displacement, what we look at is workforce development as the answer to those questions. And not only workforce development in terms of entering the workforce, but workforce development in terms of creating a workforce. What if after we've trained someone, they have the opportunity not only to go into a job, but to create one by creating their own small businesses? So what we also do is that we're also launching the Idea Innovation Factory, in where our students graduating from the LT3 Academy, a select few will go on to form their own small businesses in our Small Business Accelerator. So we do all this together to sort of like reimagine this workforce ecosystem where an individual can come in with nothing and leave with everything. The ability to support themselves and their families today and tomorrow without hiding. Right? So one of the big announcements that we do have, as we work with all partners across the nation, we do announce a special scholarship fund with the Department of Labor. So yesterday we got approved for a $225,000 scholarship fund that will look in which we will look to serve 30 individuals at zero cost, going through the academy all the way through our access and through our small business accelerator. We do have one ask though. In order to make that fully free, we are short like around 150,000. So we are looking to raise the additional 150 to match the 225 that we received from the Department of Labor. So if anyone in here has any connections, we want to connect us to anyone who would be interested in actually doing that, please connect with me at the end. Right. But at the end of the day, last year, we've raised over $500 million for individuals to go through our program. We had 100% of the individuals going through our program paid zero. We handled 50 individuals last year. We've had 100% placement rate from all our graduating classes into careers at minimum $40,000. And we've paid about $400,000 in wages over the last 6 months. We've approximately 95% certification rate and a 98% completion rate. So we're seeing high retention because we're answering the important questions that an individual asks. How do I get to work? How do I pay my bills? While at the same time looking towards my future. So we believe what we're doing is a new workforce ecosystem, one that is defined by equality because of the quality of access, one that is defined by a person's success based on their attitude and their aptitude and not where they were born or the situation that they were brought into. And we believe that we can do that, right? Not only will we create sustainable communities from a social standpoint, but we will change the game economically for the country, right? The World Bank has shown that if we do a better job in reaching certain communities, our GDP would raise by 6 points. That is an entirely new country. So what we're doing is not a matter of a social question, but one rather an economic one rather of intelligence, right? As we get our biases out, as we get our roadblocks out, we understand that if we upskill people across different niches in every segment of our population, we create a better country, period. All right, so I do, and I can put out the ask here, if anyone wants to be involved in what we do, we're always looking for volunteers, we're always looking for people to help, and just talk to me at the end. All right, so thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Chris. I just want to take a moment just to say thank you, not only to all of you that came out today, but also to RD Management for really supporting Mr. Chris Bowen and his vision of rhythm. We talked about it earlier. You probably pulled up and said, why are we at this old mall and what the heck are we doing? Ultimately, in 1 year's time, less than 1 year's time, when you pull up to this place, you're gonna really see something that most of us haven't seen in our lifetime, and that's the ability for us to take a resource that is untapped and really turn it into something that then generates more and is sustainable. I see the Rhythm Project as a project that I'm really passionate about because my own personal story in that I'm not from Tampa. I lived here for about 2.5 years, and I saw a ton of opportunity. I live about 15 minutes down the road. This is really my community, and I want to see the best version of it. And I'm starting to see awesome people like you all, RD Management, Chris Bowen, Ms. Terry Willingham's probably running around somewhere as she does. Ms. Brandy Jackson from FCDI, Mr. Steve Willingham from FCDI, Eddie, Tracy, Nancy, Ms. Bonnie, Eric Larson, a personal friend and mentor of mine. These are all amazing people that have been putting this thing together, so I just want to say thank you. My name is Brian Alvarez-Bailey, CEO and founder of Allison, but I'm also entrepreneur in residence for the Soaring City Innovation Partnership. But what does that actually mean? That means that they've taken their resources, their time, their money, their efforts to help me build my company into what I think it can be. And in kind, I want to take that energy and put it back into the community. And I want to help other companies come to Uptown, stay in Uptown, and bring other folks to Uptown. To steal the line from Mr. Moranti, gentrification is gentrification, but we cannot have displacement. We want to bring in new blood, but we want to give the folks that we have here an injection as well. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I want to stay here. Ultimately, my company, Uptown, has had a couple of wins from last year, and it's directly due to my involvement with the Soaring City Innovation Partnership located here at Rhythm. We've hired 5 people. Ultimately, we went from a team of 2 to a team of 7. We were having fairly successful efforts in our fundraise. I can't publicly talk about it yet, but I will. But more importantly, we were able, again, to build something sustainable here. And again, I'm happy to call Uptown, Tampa, my home. Part of my role as entrepreneur in residence is that I help to bring other companies here to Rhythm, and I help support some of the digital efforts in terms of supporting companies like NetSVS and LT3 Labs, Mr. Morency, supporting FCDI, Mr. Willingham, Ms. Jackson, supporting Mr. John Dingler with the well and well bikes. I really see that as a opportunity for an entrepreneur in the community to come in, build their company, but also support other companies. So I will not be the last entrepreneur in residence for Soaring City Innovation Partnership. I'm just the first and probably won't be the best. So I look forward to other entrepreneurs stepping into this role and really growing and getting the most out of it. That being said, I also have an announcement. On April 3rd, we'll be launching our first business accelerator program, the Soaring City Tampa Accelerator. We will be taking 10 startup companies from this community, locate them here at Rhythm, and put them through hell for 10 weeks. Just being honest. Part of the program is they'll be receiving a $3,500 non-equity grant. They'll be receiving office space here at Rhythm. And as well, they'll be receiving, thanks to our partnership with Embark Collective, a 3-month membership to Embark. So we're very proud of that program. We've got a lot of our initial companies that we've selected here today. Give them a quick shout. But I want to highlight one of our first companies selected. I want to say young lady, but her age is not indicative of her experience. She's been building an amazing product, but more importantly, she's helped me to become a better entrepreneur. And she is one of the first companies selected. I'd like to bring up now founder and CEO of Boop, Mrs. Martika Jones.
So my name is Martika Jones. I'm founder and CEO of Boop. Yes, like the sound. And we are a digital business card company, but most importantly, more so than that, we are your digital twin. So we are the most customized digital business card on the market, and soon to be your debit card on your wrist. So we're coming after all of your paper business cards, so we're gonna get rid of them, and your debit cards as well. And on top of that, we also, every single quarter, we donate to organizations to help plant trees around the world. So I just want to talk a little bit about my experience with Soaring City Innovation and the academic program here. So shout out to Brandy and Terry, you guys are so awesome. I was able to go through that program. I was very fortunate to learn just so much from there. They helped me with finding my target audience while we've been in business for, let's say, a year and a half. There's nothing wrong with a good refresher and seeing it from a different perspective. So we would find our target audience. We also did marketing, and I actually learned a lot about different legal things and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. So thank you so much for letting me be in that program. Some of the goals that I have for the new cohort that's coming out in April is to actually build Boop 2.0. So yeah, we have a platform that's currently in development right now. It'll be Boop 2.0, and it will essentially be a much better version that will also have payment accessibility as well. So we are currently raising our funds right now and actually have some funds committed. So we're very excited. This is our first time raising. And that's actually one of my goals is to go through the program and learn a little bit more about VC funding and how we can continue to reach our target goals. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So we'll be taking a walking tour in a few minutes, but we wanted to share some highlights from Soaring City neighbors who we can't visit on the tour. We'll start with the James A. Haley Veterans Hospital, because we have guests here today, including Hospital President David Dunning, Deputy Director David Van Meter, and Chief of Innovation Dr. Indra Sindal. Please see the The VA hospital opened this new state-of-the-art bed tower in January, and among the advantages here is that it has 96 private surgical rooms and 40 ICU beds. It is giving our veterans privacy in their rooms that they did not get before. Recently, a delegation from Ukraine visited the hospital, including healthcare professionals, so they could learn and exchange information on rehab for traumatic brain injury, amputations, STI, and mental health. The Veterans Hospital is embracing and leveraging artificial intelligence to serve its patients. It is one of 4 AI centers designated by the National AI Institute and hosted a conference in February covering topics like AI-powered diagnostics, personalized medicine, a digital command center, and trustworthy AI. The hospital's Tampa Innovation Program plans an MIT hackathon this summer, plus a collaboration with USF, Tampa General Hospital, and other partners on an innovation fellowship, an Innovators Network site coming this fall. Very exciting things are happening at the Veterans Hospital. That's just about a quarter of a mile north of where we are right now. Meanwhile, Moffitt has some big news as well. The Moffitt-McKinley Hospital is scheduled to open on July 31st. The new 10-story, 498,000 square foot facility is located right across the street from the outpatient center and will feature 19 operating rooms, 72 universal prep and recovery rooms, 128 inpatient beds, and much more. Advanced technology throughout the building will allow for improved outcomes all around. And at the USF Research Park, the Rapid7 Cybersecurity Foundation has invested $1.5 million that will fund a cyber threat intelligence lab. The joint endeavor providing hands-on learning opportunities to the next generation of cybersecurity professionals, which I know is getting to be bad. It's getting to be bad on the internet, especially since the pandemic. And USF Research is building 3,000 square feet of web lab modules and support space that should be completed in June. From our neighbors at the UACCC, Uptown Sky is very close to completion. This is a 61-unit apartment development priced for low and moderate income families. It is located on 12th Street in Fletcher and is on track for a June completion. Harvest Hope Park is a hub of activity, especially on Friday mornings when residents volunteer in the community garden and can take home fresh produce. There is a kinship market sharing groceries for those needing them. They have art in the park activities, and we may be a few years from having a football stadium at USF, but you can go and cheer on the Uptown Eagles at Harvest Hope. The Eagles are really working with the players and cheerleaders in that program to grow in all facets of life. There are a number of events coming up at UACCC, and you can find details at uaccc.org. Next is Moore Elementary. Bonnie Ingram from Soaring City is the chair of the Moore Partners Coalition, and the school has improved greatly over the past 5 years. In January, Moore became a UACCC prodigy site, so they are having art and dance classes 2 days a week. Moore Community Partnership School is another great example of Uptown collaboration, where we are coming together to help educate the next generation of innovators. Next is Uptown Stage. The new Tampa players have a theater right here in Rhythm, and one of the great things they do is called the Penguin Project, which is a production where all the roles are performed by children or young adults with special needs. They'll be performing Beauty and the Beast Junior, April 14th, 15th, and 16th. And finally, our neighbor right next door, the USF Institute of Applied Engineering is doing incredible work, and this morning, the new CEO of the Institute is here to share some news about the IAE. Please welcome Darren Schumann.
So Brian was saying, what are we doing here at this mall? I work here. So I know why I'm there. There's a long walk. If you go that way, one door, two doors. That's what we are. So the Institute of Applied Engineering is located here. We have roughly 15 to 20 people here every day in a facility that's doing largely support for SOCOM, CENTCOM, et cetera. And I'll talk a little bit more next slide. So we're here because large organizations have a terrible time talking to each other. If you have a large federal organization, they say, we need to talk. Federal acquisition regulations. And the recipient is buried under a pile of paper. And if it's another large organization like a university, they go, ha, state of Florida regulations. And it kind of hits the federal wall. And so we have to start negotiating. How do you feel about Part 30? I don't know. How do you feel about XYZ? I don't know. And it keeps going and it keeps going. And whatever spark there was of we need to do something amazing dies. You give it 6 months, you give it 12 months, you give it 18 months, and nobody cares. So the university established, under the leadership of the Dean of the College of Engineering, Robert Bishop, a direct support organization called the Institute of Applied Engineering. And we are here to help bridge that gap and get things done. So we have our own contracting arm, we have our own engineers, we have an academic consortium, and we are able to take money that has been allocated by the federal government in the form of an IDIQ and BPAs from SOCOM and CENTCOM, and they come to us and say, we'd like to get this done, help us. And a great example, recently there was a letter that came out and made a lot of noise in the news about a certain 4-star general in the Air Force saying he thought war with China could happen in 2025, and there were certain things he wanted done. The 6th Air Wing over here at MacDill said, we have something we are supposed to get done. They called us. We were able to have a contract and our engineers at MacDill doing work within 10 days. That's why we're here. We have also done work where somebody said, well, if you're exposed to repeated explosions over your career, how does that affect your brain? And there was a request, could we look at this? And we're saying, not in your life, we don't know anything about that. But we can find the people that can answer that question. And so we did that, and that study is just winding up now. I haven't talked about it yet, so let's go to this. So I like to say, we really focus on 3 things. We focus on our country, we focus on our soldiers, and we focus on our future. We focus on our future through our intern programs. We have 53 interns that work at the IAE, that work at SOCOM, that work at other places. If you're interested in interns to join any of your activities, we can help you get that done. So basically, they get real-world experience, and in many cases, in high technology. And in some cases, even with clearances, so that when they walk out, they have experience doing real-world work, and of course, their placement rate is very high. Oh, wait, I can't talk about it, it's on the slide. The brain study was done at Harvard Medical. That was just completed, the data is being analyzed, but there's already follow-up money being allocated. And think about what a great thing that is, being able to say, that when you're exposed to these repeated low-level blasts, can we develop markers and tests that help you so that we can tell when you need to take a break? The brain is resilient, but sometimes it needs a little time off. Edge computing, IoT, we do all of it, and if we can't do it, we'll find the people that can for a modest administration fee, of course. Next slide. Here we go. If you were to walk into our office, sorry, you can't, you would see telemetry boards where basically there were 3 satellites. The IAE was asked, can you put 3 CubeSats on a rocket and get them into orbit and read the telemetry? Sure. They did it. They found a way to get 3 CubeSats on a rideshare with SpaceX, and we follow those satellites every day, tracking them across the board. And then that information helps our customer understand what you can and cannot do with CubeSat. Everybody will tell you they know until you have one sending you information you really don't know. Next slide. We do a lot of software work. One of the more interesting one lately was I used to work at Motorola a long time ago. And one of the things we were doing was Iridium. And I was shocked to come here and find out we were doing software for communications for Iridium. But it's similar to the other stuff, so we'll move on. Next slide. The academic consortium at the IAE, we have 27 member institutions, including all of them in the state of Florida. And that lets us avoid the whole problem of having dueling acquisition regulations. We can actually go to the PI and say, you don't have, it's okay. You can talk to us. We will get you the contract. We will manage the work. You don't have to go through all of these acquisition regulations. Of course, it makes it possible for these people to do the work. Next slide. This is a good example of the wide variety of things we get asked to do. Cybersecurity, quantum tech, battery chemistry, all of that done here at the University of South Florida. FDA authorization for blood warming. I'm sure you have an appreciation. I used to run a warming-based medical business. It's a much harder problem than you think it is. And then fixed wing market analysis. This is really interesting. There was a question about a certain type of aircraft that a certain customer was interested in procuring, but it's largely vanishing from the United States. You really can't buy them here anymore. Well, when you looked at the supply chain, most of it ran through China. And so where can we get a secure manufacturing line for this type of aircraft? Next slide. So this is where this gets interesting for the University Mall project. We are working on a rapid experimentation lab here at the mall. It'll be right across from where our office is. It'll be 80,000 square feet. I haven't worked on this project since yesterday, and I'll be working on it today, right after this is over. What's interesting there is they'll put 8,000 people, or 8,000 square feet, sorry, in here for a rapid experimentation lab, but more importantly, it then puts roughly 27 engineers, technicians, and interns here almost every day. If you have interest in working with, have something where you think, hey, SOCOM would be really interested in this, CENTCOM would really be interested in this. The key to working with the federal government is not to have them be interested, is to have a contractual vehicle where they could give you money. We have access to those. We are 2 doors over, and we're here and happy to help. Thank you for having us here today. And I'm going to introduce Chris. I met Chris on Tuesday, and I can promise you that he's not done working on the future of this area. So Chris, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Schumacher. We're very, very excited to have Dr. Darren Schumacher here in the community. This is, I met him, as he said, we met at Synapse
the other day for the first time, and I knew within. I was sat next to him. I actually came in late. Those are only happens frequently in my life, but immediately I knew within minutes that this was someone very special, and this was game on. Game on. This is game on for all of us here in this neighborhood, and he's come to play. So thank you, and thank you for letting us know a little bit about what's going on. I struggle. I don't know how I could stay to 5 minutes or less, and I've got to stay to less than 5 minutes to say to you what I want to say. First of all, what I'll say is thank you so much for being here this morning. I hope all of you know how special each one of you are to what's going on here in Uptown, and to all of us who are a part of this with you. I just hope you know that. We think the world of you, and we need you to be a part of this with us. Uptown was launched here at this site almost 5 years ago. People ask me, what is it? And I say, Uptown is an attitude with altitude. And that's really very simply what it is. And don't put that on a t-shirt yet. Talk to me first. I got some ideas for you, but I know you will. Rhythm was birthed out of that launch, as part of that launch. And people have a hard time understanding what rhythm is. Is rhythm the mall? Well, no. And yes. Is there still a mall? No, there isn't. There really isn't. The mall now is what I think of as a spaceship. And it's an incredible spaceship. And you're all along for the ride, and you all have seats. I recommend getting the best seats you can with a view, and there are plenty of them. So take one, and bring more people on. And the beauty of the spaceship is, even though it's out there in the outer reaches right now, it's beyond Mars, it's beyond a lot of our imaginations. But there's still seats in the ship. And you'll always be able to get here. And that's what Soaring City is about. Soaring City is bringing people onto the ship and getting you a seat and a view and a connection to everything that is happening here. You heard from just a slice of some of the things that are happening with Moffat and James A. Haley, and the Institute of Engineering, and Advent Health, and on and on and on. LT3, well built. It's just AMROC. It's incredible. What rhythm is obviously a reference to algorithm. But rhythm is not setting an algorithm per se. Rhythm is trying to connect all those incredible players and things that have been happening here over making a very unique, very special, extraordinary place for the last half century. Rhythm is creating a place to gather and connect and figure stuff out. It's not dictating a specific formula or recipe or calculation. We're not getting into that level of math. But we're bringing those tools, we're trying to bring those tools to the community at large. And in a way that connects them to these kinds of incredible players that, by the way, most neighborhoods in America and the world don't have. They just don't have what is here. And that was the first thing that amazed me. When I first came here about 25 years ago to this community, and I looked at it and I said, I have not seen this particular mix, this particular formula going on here anywhere in the world. Well, how does this happen? What is happening here? And it amazed me from the beginning. And I kept coming back and kept getting it drawn back, which is interesting, that I kept getting pulled back. And even though I was working all over the country, I was living in other places in the country, I kept being pulled back here. And finally, in 2018, I was pulled back here, I think, for good, and to work on something with this community. And so rhythm is again is a place to gather, connect, and figure stuff out, and to deliver tools, put tools in the hands of everyday people that have hopes and dreams and are looking for how they can really move forward with their lives, how they can be more productive, how they can help others. And these tools, including the algorithms, the ability to design algorithms at any level you want to play, from a very simple recipe, which is an algorithm, to incredible mathematical calculations that drive artificial intelligence and things like that, machine learning and spaceships. So again, thank you for coming today. You'll see here, again, I don't get mixed up, and I don't get too tight on or too tightly wound up with the buildings. You're in a building right now that is literally shrinking and morphing so that it can produce, this is a 1 million square foot building. But malls are on the way out because they were buildings. They were thought of as buildings. We're looking today as a community to breathe life into our buildings. That's what we're interested in, is how do we breathe life? How do we create a soul? How do we create a magic connection, connectivity that perpetuates, as Darren mentioned, keeps the spark alive. Okay, we talk about incredible things here. Incredible things are going on. Literally, people are pursuing the cure for cancer and all sorts of other ills that we have and big problems. And we're going to solve a lot of that here. But how do you keep that energy going? It doesn't happen in a mall. It happens in creating something that is flesh and blood. And it's a neighborhood, it's a community. It's a place where people feel that they belong and that they can contribute to. So I think I have one more slide. Yeah, buildings. But I have to, I throw it out there because some people still, to pull some people in to get seats in the spaceship, we need to flash some flashy things. If you're interested in buildings, that's the next big building to come along. Just pulled the construction permit. It's the first of 2 Marriott hotels. This one is being built in front of the Hub apartments, the student apartments, 900 students. And the parking garage, this is coming in front of that and going up about 6-7 stories. We're going to begin construction in about a month, about 30 to 60 days. But we already have our permit in hand, and we're ready to go. That's the first hotel residents in. It's a dual flag. The next one will probably be an NC. There's one other flag that we're interested in, possibly, but an NC is pretty nice, it's pretty cool, and it works well with what we want to achieve. And you'll have those 2 hotels side by side. On the extension to University Square Drive, which connects us to USF at 4 blocks away. But that's just the first, that's just the next round of dozens of buildings. But the buildings happen out of all this and everything that's going on. I don't really know, they were showing the plan. It's a guide. It's not a hard and fast rule. We know we were approved for probably as much as 8 million square feet. We started out at 1.5 million square feet. We're still holding about that with some new buildings and taking out the old wall. But what I can tell you is that Soaring City will be around for a long time. Wellville will be around for a long time. LT3, Amrock, Moffett, USF. But the way they'll be continuing to play at the levels they play at is because all of you, all of us, keep the spark alive. And that's what rhythm is really all about. Thank you.
conversations with Chris, and every time I'm like, mind blown. All right, everybody. Well, we've got a few more slides to show you. And it's a big year for Soaring City. Florida Blue Partnership helped us do some amazing things. You already heard about the EIR program and the success of Brian's company, Allison. Woo! The Innovation Gathering was a huge success with 400 attendees and 75 exhibitors. It was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing. We partnered with AMROC on a hugely successful month-long roboticon that brought about 1,200 people here for robotics and robot wars. We are very proud of the summer program that Soaring City partnered with LT3 on that has 10 high school students on track for careers in tech fields. We had more than 50 HCC students complete medical courses in Soaring City's meeting space downstairs. And in this room, Soaring City provided a venue for 104 events and meetings attended by thousands. And as you heard, in less than a month, we'll see the first cohort of entrepreneurs right here in the Soaring City Business Accelerator. We are just getting started. Follow Soaring City on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn to keep up with what's going on. Please stick around and visit our partners here in Rhythm who are ready to welcome you and tell you more about their specific organizations. When you see these spaces and find out about all that they are doing and the impact that they are having in the community, you'll be impressed. Truly, you will be. Truly, you will be. All right, and Brandy Jackson is going to lead you on the tour. Where's Brandy? Right there. Hi, Brandy. And she is going to keep you on a tight schedule so that we get to everyone and wind up at the View by 11:30 for the tour there. And then after that, if you can stay a little longer, you can visit Underground Tampa and learn about the innovative work that they do in the faith-based community. So let's follow Brandy. First, she's going to take you to Well-Built Bikes, and that's where you all get started, and then you'll come and check out the rest of us, including TBCN. Woo! Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming today. We truly appreciate it.
Bye.